Ken. All right. The Phoenix Mercury. Who is the league leader in assists? Alyssa Thomas. Oh, you know this went well, right? Who'd she beat up to get there?
Wait, did the Mercury really just post that? At first it looks like a mistake. But nope. Phoenix Mercury actually posted that Alyssa Thomas is the league's assist leader. And fans did not hold back. Thousands of comments, all going after this one post. Here's the twist though, nobody's saying the stat is wrong. She really is number one in assists. So what's got everyone so fired up?
She's a lying thug. Those aren't real assists. She has no basketball skill. Dirty ass team playing victims. She's played more games. That usually helps. I mean, seriously, keep trying, but no one apart from you clowns take her seriously. And assaults. Well, I guess if you injure the previous assist leader so she misses games, this is going to happen. Real?
Scroll through those comments and you'll see the same thing over and over. That hit on Caitlin Clark. People are asking, who exactly did she go through to get that assist crown? Because right now, she's not just leading in assists. She's leading in cheap shots too. And honestly, the Mercury had to see this coming. Now, sure, Alyssa Thomas has suited up for more games than Clark this year, and that naturally pads the assist count. But nobody's in the mood for stats and context right now. Fans want answers, not explanations. And that's where Mercury dropped the ball. Timing is everything. You don't hype up a player fresh off one of the most talked about, controversial plays of the whole season and expect a clean reaction. That Clark incident. Still raw. Still unresolved. And fans are not letting it go. Now here's where things get really interesting. Linda Cohn just spoke up. And that's a big deal. This is someone who spent over 3 decades at ESPN behind a SportsCenter desk. The moment she stepped away from the network, she came out swinging on this very topic. She's asking the question everyone's whispering about, but no one in mainstream sports media wants to touch. Did Alyssa Thomas actually take those death threats to the FBI? Because that's the move when threats are real. You report them, they get investigated, and if it's serious, someone gets prosecuted. Cohn isn't saying the threats are fake. She's saying prove it. Show the paperwork. And that's a completely fair ask when criminal claims go public. Think about it. A story pulling in 100 million views, and only a handful of nasty comments come out of it. That's actually a tiny percentage. But if even those few are real threats, they need to be sitting on an FBI desk right now. So the question stands, where's the investigation? Where's the follow-up? Where's the arrest?
Do love that she took the high road here, saying this cannot happen to any player in the league, no matter what the situation is, players, coaches, whatever. But she also took the time, which I loved, to basically told the league to be better communicating. She also mentioned the officiating very subtly. I'm going to say it with an exclamation point. The bad officiating in the WNBA has led to most of this minutia. Yeah, most of this controversy. All of these controversies. Be better, officials. Is there an agenda here that I don't know about?
Watch this closely, because what Linda Cohn just said might be the most honest thing anyone in sports media has said all year. She starts by giving Caitlin Clark credit for staying calm and taking the high road. But buried in that praise is a sharp jab. Clark gets hit hard on the court, gets bad calls against her, and gets buried in hate online. Yet she never plays the victim. No public complaints. No naming names in interviews. She just deals with it and keeps playing. Compare that to how other situations get handled, and suddenly one approach looks like class, and the other looks like a show. That contrast is exactly what Cohn wants you to notice, even without saying it outright. Then she goes after something bigger, the officiating. She doesn't come out and scream about it, but the message lands anyway. Bad officiating is the root of almost every blow-up we've seen this season. When refs miss obvious fouls, when they let things get too physical, when the calls change from game to game, players stop trusting the system. That builds anger. Fans start believing their guy is being targeted, and before you know it, social media turns into a battlefield after every single game. And here's where Cohn drops the real shocker. Fans voted Caitlin Clark as a starter for the All-Star game. Media voters put her third overall, second among fans. Those numbers reflect what people watching every night actually think of her game. But when it came time for the players, the ones guarding her, competing against her, they ranked her 11th among guards. 11th. Sit with that for a second. Fans say top 2. Media says top 3. Her own peers say outside the top 10. That's not just a difference of opinion. That's a message being sent on purpose. Cohn asked it straight up. Why do WNBA players keep biting the hand that feeds them? Because let's be real, Clark is averaging over 21 points and 8 assists a night. Barely anyone in the league is top 5 in both categories at once. That's not just scoring. That's scoring and setting up teammates at an elite level. So either these players genuinely don't understand the stat sheet, or there's something personal going on. Neither option looks good for the league. Now scroll through the comments under that Phoenix Mercury post, and you'll see the pattern instantly. Nasty jokes, accusations, sarcasm about assists, and almost every single comment circles back to one moment. That contact to Clark's throat. Some fans are also picking apart the assist numbers themselves, arguing that a lot of Alyssa Thomas's assists come from simple handoffs near the top of the key, easy reads that don't take much vision. Compare that to Clark's assists, cross-court bullets, no-look dishes in transition, threading passes through tight windows. Both count the same on paper, but fans are saying they're not the same in difficulty. Still, most of the anger circling this post isn't really about basketball stats at all. Quick correction here, because it matters. Some comments reference Nafisa Collier's injury, but the moment fans are actually furious about is separate. The physical contact between Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark that a lot of people felt crossed the line. And Clark's own response to that moment is worth breaking down too. She came out and said something like this shouldn't happen to any player, no matter the circumstances. That's mature. She wasn't making it about herself. She made it about safety for everyone in the league. But then she added something quieter that a lot of people glossed over. She said the league needs to communicate better. She brought up the officiating. That wasn't random. That was calculated. She's basically telling the league office to step up. When something controversial happens, explain the call. Explain whether discipline is coming or not. Don't leave fans guessing, because silence is exactly what turns confusion into conspiracy theories. And her comment on officiating cuts even deeper. She's saying, without naming anyone specifically, that inconsistent calls are the reason these blow-ups keep happening. When players don't know what's allowed and what's not, they push limits. When stars don't feel protected, their fans get defensive fast. The WNBA has a referee problem, and it's bleeding into everything else around it. Cohn picks up on this instantly. She flat out asks, is there some kind of agenda happening that we don't know about? That's a heavy question. She's hinting that maybe the inconsistency isn't accidental. Maybe there's a deliberate hand steering certain outcomes or protecting certain storylines. She's not offering proof. She's planting a seed. And given how many questionable calls have gone against Clark this season, that seed lands on fertile ground. Here's why this actually matters, though. Linda Cohn isn't some random voice chasing views. She spent 34 years at the top level of sports broadcasting before stepping away from her seat at SportsCenter. She understands how the media machine works from the inside, and she's choosing to spend her time now asking pointed questions about how this league is being run. So when she asks whether Alyssa Thomas actually reported those alleged death threats to the FBI, that's not just gossip. That's basic journalism. If someone claims they received serious threats, the natural follow-up is, did you report it? Is there a record? Can this be confirmed? Not because nobody believes them, but because that's simply how verification works. And the fact that there's been zero follow-up reporting on this is telling in itself. If federal authorities were actually investigating credible threats against a professional athlete, that would be news. We'd hear about it. The silence says either it was never formally reported, or it was looked into and didn't hold up. Either way, that raises real questions about why it was announced publicly in the first place. And her point about the numbers is sharp too. A story pulling in 100 million views produces maybe a dozen ugly comments. That's actually proof the fanbase is far better behaved than people give it credit for. Every viral moment attracts trolls. Every controversial play gets ugly replies. A dozen out of 100 million isn't a crisis. It's just noise. Now step back and look at the bigger picture here. The Mercury posted a completely accurate stat. Alyssa Thomas leads the league in assists. Simple fact. But the reaction shows a massive gap between how the league wants the story to go and how fans are actually feeling right now. This isn't really about Clark being too popular. It's about the league not knowing how to handle the tension between its longtime stars and its breakout phenomenon. Every time something controversial happens involving Clark, the response is slow, vague, or non-existent. And that silence leaves room for fans to build their own version of events. Remember that contact to Clark's throat. It looked bad live. It looked worse on replay. Fans expected some kind of discipline, some kind of statement about protecting players. Instead, nothing. No explanation. Just move along to the next game. That's exactly how resentment builds. So now the Mercury tries to celebrate a completely legitimate achievement, and it blows up in their face because the real issue was never addressed. Their social media team is just catching strays in a fight the league should have settled weeks ago. Had the WNBA handled that incident with clarity, this post would have sparked normal basketball talk. Instead, it turned into a referendum on officiating, player behavior, and league priorities. The All-Star voting gap tells the same story from a different angle. Fans and media clearly see Clark's impact, voting her top 2, top 3. But her peers rank her 11th. That's not a difference in opinion, that's a statement. But here's the flaw in that plan. Players don't control the narrative anymore. Fans do. Ratings do. Ticket sales do. When players rank her 11th while fans rank her 2nd, fans win that argument every time because they're the ones actually driving the attention and the money. So when players try to downplay her impact through a vote, they're not hurting Clark at all. They're hurting their own image. Cohn calls it biting the hand that feeds you, and she's not wrong. Clark has brought the WNBA more eyes, more money, and more relevance than it's had in years. Every player benefits from that wave. Yet instead of riding it, some seem determined to push against the person who created it. Maybe it's ego. Maybe it's frustration that a rookie is getting more shine than veterans who've put in years. Understandable as a human reaction, terrible as a strategy, because fans notice pettiness instantly, and fans remember who embraced the moment and who fought it. So what happens now? Probably nothing changes overnight. The Mercury quietly moves past the backlash. Thomas keeps racking up assists. Clark keeps being the most talked about name in the league, while somehow ranking 11th among her peers. The officiating stays shaky, and the league keeps wondering why it can't fully cash in on this once-in-a-generation spotlight. The answer's not complicated. You can't build something lasting when officials don't protect your stars, when players openly resent your biggest draw, and when leadership won't address the problem directly. Fans see all of this. They're not fooled, and they're getting tired of watching this league trip over its own success. So here's the real question for you. Do you think this gets fixed, or does it just keep repeating every single week? Drop your take in the comments. Hit that like button if this broke it down for you, and subscribe so you don't miss the next update the moment this story moves again.